Nobody's coming to save you. Not your job, not the social media gurus online, not the life you thought you'd have by now. And honestly, that's one of the most freeing things I've ever realized. And today I want to just share a little bit about that, about how I've come to that realization. I want to share with you in case you're on a similar journey to me, where you've been just waiting for your life to change, hoping something or someone's going to come along and fix it for you. I think this is a lesson that we forget along the way, or maybe that we never even really learned at all. Growing up, someone's always telling you what to do. There's always an authority figure. There's your parents. They're telling you, what to wear, what to do, what to eat. And as you get older, you get a little more freedom of your choices, hopefully. But you're in school, and school is always telling you, you're there like Monday to Friday, just like a job. You're in school and the teacher sets goals and deadlines. And even though school is important and it's fun sometimes for some people, it's still giving us this structure that we can always rely on, basically, Like, meet this goal, meet this deadline, get this good grade. You're going to go up to the next level. Next year, you're going to be in grade 4. The next year, you're going to be in grade 5. And for most of us, we progress like that. Maybe some people skip a grade. Maybe some people stay back one grade. But overall, we follow this structure for the first 18 years of our lives. That's a long time. That's enough time to condition us to always be relying on this system, relying on this structure to tell us what to do, to give us a purpose. Our purpose is to do well at what people tell us to do well at, and that's our metric for success. But the problem is, after high school, after you graduate, that all changes. Some of us go to college, and if you go to college, you're going to get another 4 years of structure, basically, right? It's still take these classes. You need to get this amount of credits to get your degree. You need to get a certain grade to pass. It's a little more loosey-goosey than school was before, but the problem is still there. The structure is still there. Someone is still telling you exactly what to do and exactly what your next goal is. At the end of that, your goal is supposed to be to get a job. You get this degree, and that's going to let you apply for jobs in this field, and you're going to make money to be able to live your life, and you're contributing to the world and whatever. That sounds great. It sounds good. It sounds stable. It sounds safe. It sounds easy. But the reality is, it's not easy anymore. Society has these metrics for success that they've given us. Go to school, get a job, buy a house, start a family. And it sounds good. It sounds good on paper. And it might have worked for our grandparents, might have worked for our parents, but it hasn't really been working for us, for our generations. The 20-something, 30-something-year-olds, I think most of us are struggling, even some 40-year-olds. The job market is no longer stable. Even if you graduated, you were able to land a job in your field, you're okay with the pay, these jobs aren't stable. Companies don't want to keep you anymore. Jobs are getting replaced by AI. Jobs are getting replaced by overseas cheaper labor. That's sad. And you can kind of understand, companies want to cut costs and make more profit, but we're left out here going, what are we supposed to do? So the job that was supposed to come through for you is supposed to be, your goal, that next step. It's no longer there for a lot of us. It's not stable, or we couldn't find it in the first place. I know so many people, they have the degree and they're working at Starbucks, or they're working at Target, or they're just working at a grocery store, minimum wage, entry-level jobs that don't need anything except a high school diploma. Factories, people are doing Uber, DoorDash. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with any of those jobs, right? We need people to do them. But the problem is when that's not what you went to school for, that's not what you want to be doing. That's frustrating. And I'm going to share a little bit about my personal experience here. So growing up, I had this dream. I grew up in a small town, and I always had this dream. I wanted to move away to a big city. Like, I was in a small town. I had a good childhood, but it is a little bit boring. There wasn't anything exciting to do. And my personality, every time we took like a vacation, a trip, whatever, even if it wasn't that far, even if it was just to like a museum or something. I remember going to a science museum when I was a kid. Like, I loved it. I love learning new things. I love seeing new things, going to new places, trying new foods. I just love excitement and new experiences. Not 24/7, but I really like to break up that monotony of my regular life. So I was like, when I move out, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do something exciting. And I made a plan. I decided to go study abroad. I went to a different country. I moved to a big city to do it. There was lots of things to see. I was able to do some traveling, just some local sightseeing. Just every day, had the potential for a new adventure. And I was meeting new people from all different types of places at school. I was studying something I was, very interested and passionate about. Just overall, my whole life was finally felt like my own. It finally was exciting and adventurous. And, obviously not every single day. You still have your normal days, you still have bad days, good days. But I felt happy. I felt excited to wake up every day and see what was in store. And then I graduated and it all changed. All of a sudden, I have this responsibility of work. And, it didn't happen like suddenly. It was so dramatic. I started my job and 1 week later I was miserable. It took like a year, but, initially I was excited to be doing what I just studied for. And I was lucky enough to get a job and it paid okay. And then I had to make a job change and a move and all these things. And just suddenly my job wasn't going well. I wasn't making enough money. It wasn't very stable. And I started to not like it. And I thought I didn't really enjoy my job because I just wasn't making enough. But the reality was what I wasn't enjoying was spending majority of my time at work or taking care of errands, myself. And so many bills came up. It's like somehow, even though I was technically broke in college, somehow I felt more broke while making money at my job. Like my student debt came due, my living expenses went up. I need a car to get to work, so it has to be reliable. I'm driving more, whatever. There's just so many expenses that start coming due. So life is more expensive. My job wasn't even going that well. And I started to become unhappy. I started to feel a little bit depressed. And at this point, this was the first time I had the realization, like, maybe I need to save myself. This job isn't doing it for me. I'm struggling to find a better job to replace it. Maybe I should try something for myself. I always had this dream, actually, of being an entrepreneur from the time I was like 10 years old. People were asking me what I wanted to do. I said, I want to open my own ice cream shop. I wanted to open a dairy-free ice cream shop. I can't have dairy. I have an allergy. And where I grew up, there was like no options. There's more options nowadays, but 20 years ago, there wasn't. And yeah, but so I always thought about being a business owner, an entrepreneur. So I was like, well, let me just try something. I tried an online print-on-demand business. I tried not to put too much pressure on myself. I didn't want to like take it too seriously and get upset if it failed. So I had this mindset like, it may work out, it may not. Either way, it's okay. Either way, it's going to be a learning experience and a platform to jump off of into the next thing. Unfortunately, I didn't make any sales. It didn't work out. I didn't have a budget or anything to work with, so that made it kind of harder. But I did feel a little bit happy, creative. I felt like I was working towards something I cared about again. But after it didn't work out and I, shut it down, whatever, instead of taking it as the learning experience like I said I would to myself, instead of going and trying something else, I just kind of gave up. I let this little voice that came into my head after that was saying, maybe you're not cut out for this. Maybe it's not the right path for you. I thought maybe I'm being selfish. Maybe what I went to school for, I spent a lot of money. I went to student debt to go and get my degree. Like, it's hard to struggle with that too. Maybe I should just stick it out, just keep trying to find the right job, or just keep at my current job and, it's going to get better eventually. I just kept having this thought, like, maybe I'm being selfish. Maybe my life purpose is what I went to school for. And that's what I should stick with. Maybe I'm not supposed to chase this life of excitement and adventure. Like, maybe that's just a fantasy, a child's fantasy. Like, you're an adult now. You need to be responsible. You have bills to pay. Stop even dreaming and just put your head down and go to work. I listened to that for a little bit and I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I just need a better job. I'm going to really try to find a better job. Something opened up and I took this job. It didn't work out, but it was a little bit better than my last job. And then I found another job, and this one was finally more stable. It felt better. It felt okay. It was giving me at least some stability, a little bit less stress. And I decided to just take a year working this job. And I didn't think about or focus on anything else. I didn't try and worry about, finding other ways to make money. I had a second online job at this point too, and I was just doing both, the second one as needed, whatever. But eventually that started leading to burnout. I realized a better job isn't going to save me. I got the better job and I'm still unhappy. I took some time for myself without putting this mental pressure about doing something else, and I'm still unhappy. It's still not working. And that's when I realized, again, nobody's coming to save me. No job is going to save me. Nothing's going to give me this life I'm looking for. Nothing external is going to give me this life I'm looking for. I need to create this life for myself. Because I had to ask myself, what am I really looking for? Even though I was passionate about what I studied in school and when I started the job, I realized I had lost my passion for it. And it wasn't just because I wasn't making enough money. Finally, I was making enough to survive, do a little bit better, maybe a little bit of savings, and I still didn't feel passionate. I just lost the passion because I didn't want to be tied down to a job like this. And some people, they have a passion and they pursue that, and that's great. And that's a different problem for people that have something they want to pursue for work and they can't and they're struggling. But for me, this passion just went away. And it was a hard pill to swallow because I had spent a lot of time and a lot of money studying it. But at the end of the day, I needed to let it go. What I was really looking for was the freedom of a life that I could call my own, a life that I wake up excited for every day. And that's part of what this channel is. This is one of my steps towards saving myself. This is one of the steps towards building the life that I dreamed about. But this time, unlike the first time I had the realization and I just gave up, this time I had a mindset shift. This time I decided no more self-doubt, no more fear. I'm not going to worry about being cringe. I'm not going to worry about being embarrassed or judgment from other people. So if you're in a similar boat as me, just know that you're not alone. There's so many of us out there with this feeling, with this lack of purpose in life, struggling with the current society, with the goals, with the expectations that are just not realistic anymore and not working out. At the end of the day, nobody is coming, but we can save ourselves.